Hello, my book friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly, and of course you saw the title of this video, as well as you know what time it is of the month. It's time for our monthly wrap up. We are talking about all the books I read in August, which August felt very long and very short. Like when I was pulling out the books I read, I was like, I read this last month? Like let me go back. I was like checking my Goodreads. I was like, is this correct? But it wasn't a bad month. I just didn't have like any 5 stars. I didn't have a book that like blew me away last month. And I think it's just because I've been in this somewhat of like a life slump of my brain is just kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I'm having a hard time focusing on things, and it's translating to reading. Like nothing is like, this is the greatest. Like I'm having to avoid a lot of things when I'm reading. Like if something a little bit is close to like home right now, I'm like, nope, can't read it. I'm pausing a lot of books, but I read 9 books last month and I DNF'd 1. Yeah. If you are new to my channel, 9 to 10 books is my average. That is average for what I read. If you are not new, you knew the beginning of this year, I was reading up a storm. And I think that's just because, like, I don't know, new year, like new slate, just wanting to read everything. And we got a lot of good books at the beginning of this year, and we're going to get a lot of good books at the end of this year. So I feel like that number is going to pick up as well. But 9 is really good. Like, for me, just reading one book is good because, I don't know, finishing something's great. I also finished all but one on my TBR for last month, which is really good. I did mostly romances and dark romances just because my brain is needing that. Like, I'm needing just something very unrealistic, which you would think, Carly, a fantasy, go into it, you know? That's what you need. You may be right, but I can't think. I can't think of anything. I need a book. If you guys know of one, if it's fantasy or whatever, something that's not super in depth, something calm. Before we start, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell to notify you when I upload. I upload every week. Let's go ahead, talk about what I read last month, get into the nitty gritty. Okay, so let's just start with the first DNF. Love of the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. I was so excited for this book because I love true crime. I grew up like with my dad watching like court cases, things like that. I went to school and have my master's in criminal justice. Like I love all things true crime. And so combined romance and true crime, I'm here for it. I did not like this book whatsoever. I didn't even get very far. I think I got 5-6 chapters in and I was like, I'm out. This is about Phoebe. She has moved back to her dad's old house, getting ready to sell it with her brother. Also, pause. My wrap-ups, if you have not watched one of my wrap-ups before, there may be spoilers, so please go in with caution. I may say something that is a spoiler, so just go in with caution. Back to it. So Phoebe has moved back to help her brother get their dad's house ready to sell. He has passed away 6 months prior. She gets there late at night, and she has like this heavy furniture. Why she put it on the top of her car, no fucking clue. And as she's trying to contemplate what to do with this heavy furniture, she hears like, hey, do you need help? And she freaks out. I will give her the benefit of the doubt of, yes, it's like 2-3 in the morning and you have no idea where this person came from. Like you were just by yourself. I get it. I get it. Phoebe she's doing her dissertation on true crime, like on serial killers, things like that, and familial ties in regards to serial killers. Very interesting. I love that. But she is just rude. Like she talks about, like at the beginning of this does have some trigger warnings, talks about some things. Oh, I have trauma. This is the way I act. Listen, you guys, I have trauma. We may all have trauma. It doesn't give you a right to treat other people like assholes. If they are not the ones who did the trauma to you, you don't treat other people like assholes. Okay. That's my advice for this video. be nice to people. Like, I don't understand. She had every opportunity she had seeing the neighbor, who is the love interest in this book. She's an asshole to him. Like, she pulls up from seeing an old friend and is asshole to her, kinda. She pulls up and he's mowing her grass, which he has done because her dad was not in the best of health and he would do it anyway. And she literally was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm just like mowing the grass, you know." And she's like, "I didn't ask you to do that." And he's like, "Oh, all right. Do you want me to stop?" And he's like, and she's like, "No, you can continue." It's like, okay. Like, at that point, I was like, I'm out. Like, there's nothing that is going to be redeeming for me with you, because it's like, you're just an asshole. Like, I don't care what happened to you at this point. You're just a dick. Like, that's just plain and simple. Like, even her brother's like, you need to calm down. Like, no, there's nothing going to be like 3 pages worth of like, you know what? It is my trauma. I'm going to be nice to everyone from now on. No, like, you're just an asshole. So I had to DNF. I was like, I'm out. So I don't know if I'm going to give her other book a chance, because I don't know if she's like, that's not strong female character lead to me. That you're just an asshole. I don't care if you're female, male, what your sexual orientation is. Don't be an asshole. Like, I'm out. I'm out for that reason. Next up, The Love Hypothesis by Elle Hazelwood. Everybody has talked about this book. Everybody's talked about how amazing it is. All the STEM books. I have the other 2. You guys, I gave this 2.5 stars. I literally finished this. I did not like it. Was there potential? Yes. The banter was there. The science was kind of interesting. Here are the things I did not like. Anne, or Anne, I'm not sure how you pronounce the friend's name. She is a shitty friend. If someone's telling you, like, if you're pushing them to do something that they have told you multiple times makes them uncomfortable, and you still pressure them to do it, you're, again, an asshole. Yes, she's fake dating the guy, Adam, which I loved Adam. I feel like, Adam, you deserve so much better. Like, nah, dog. Like, I can't. But she's fake dating so Anne can date the guy that Olive had gone on a date with, because they hit it off, which, listen, that's fucking weird to me. Like, if you're on a date with somebody and you're hitting it off with someone else and now you want to date, that's weird. That's weird. Some people may like that. I would have been like, that's strange to me, but okay. But the fact that Anne pressured her to kiss him in front of everybody at a school function, sit on his lap at a school function, it's fucking weird. And it's uncomfortable. Like, even at the end of this book, she talks about, I made you do all those things, and now I feel so bad. You didn't feel bad when you were doing it in the moment, when she literally multiple times told you, this makes me uncomfortable. And you're like, no, I'm going to still do it. And then when you find out they're fake dating, now you feel bad? The fuck? You should feel bad in general. Like, so she's an asshole. Strike 1. Olive is a doormat. She's a straight doormat, and I can't. Like, the solutions were right in front of her face, and she was like, no. She was like, I know what to do. I'm gonna do this. But I'm not gonna do this, because I don't want to. Alright. Fucking okay. Jesus Christ. It was just, it wasn't even miscommunication. It was just not communicating. They didn't communicate whatsoever. Like, this fake dating, I would have called it out from the start. Like, if I'm in there and I'm like, you know, they're not really dating, right? No one who's dating just sees each other for 10 minutes at the Starbucks every Wednesday. Fuck out of here. I can't. I can't. It's strike 2. Strike 3. This may be a hot take. I don't care. I don't need to hear every other page how there's no women in STEM. You could have told me that in a few chapters. I would have known that. I could have understood that. You don't need to remind me every other page. We don't need to be reminded. It makes it feel like you think the reader's stupid. That we're forgetting that there's no women in STEM. We fucking get it. Like, that, strike 3. I finished it, 2.5 stars. Will I read the other ones? I don't know. Because my friend was telling me Love on the Brain is very similar to The Love Hypothesis. But a lot of people are saying Love Theoretically is better than both. So I don't know. But I did not fucking like this. Would I recommend it? No. And that's just my opinion. Next one up is Vipers and Virtuosos. I think I'm saying that right. It's book 2 in the Monsters and Muses series by Sav R. Miller. I gave this 3 stars. It's about Aiden and Riley. They meet 3-4 years before. And something happens. They go on this date. He is like captured by her beauty. He really likes her, everything. They go on this date. They get intimate, and she runs away because things have happened in her past that she doesn't really remember, but she runs away. Nothing big, but this story comes out that he had SA'd her. If you know what SA is, if you don't, look it up. And this whole thing. So now 3 years later, she's in hiding, all these things. This is a big book of miscommunications and not talking. Fuck that. I hate it. Aiden stalks, bullies her. I don't get the bullying part. I didn't see it whatsoever. The conflict resolution in this was shit. You didn't even know it played almost like a thriller, which, okay, that's fine. But you didn't know who did it, which I called who did it by like fucking chapter 3. I was like, for sure it was that person. Okay. But you don't know it's that person until literally the last chapter in this book. It is too long for that crap, okay? It was too long. It just made 0 sense. I didn't see any sort of chemistry between Aiden and Riley. It just didn't get it. Will I continue the series? Maybe, because it's a different couple every time. So I may continue this, but I'm definitely pausing it because I had a terrible time reading it. 3 stars. Next up, Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is the first in the Chestnut Spring series. Loved it. 4.5 stars. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I get the hype. I love a good small town cowboy romance. You also get, not Boss's Daughter, because let's be honest, he pays his agent, so he is his boss. So either way, but it's the agent's daughter. His agent has sent his daughter to basically babysit Rhett after some controversies happen, and he needs to keep it on track until the championship. What happens, you guys? They fall in love, the chemistry is there, and I freaking love it. Rhett and Summer was great. The banter in this was fantastic. The spice was very good. Was it a slow burn? I would say no. It's almost, it borders on it. I think the pace of this was actually very good. So I don't think it was a slow burn. The pace of it was great. I love Rhett's family. I actually really loved his agent. At first I thought, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to like him. Love him. The only reason this was not 5 stars for me is because I feel as though some of the conflict in this wasn't necessarily resolved. With Winter and Dr. Douche, you don't get any resolve in that. You get a brief oh, they're not talking. You don't, that's all you get. And you're like, that's it? I know Winter's story is what, book 4 or something, 3 or 4. So I'm sure we'll get more in that or more in the series. So I'm excited to read more in the series, but it's on the cusp of 5 stars, but I think we should have gotten more of where her relationship is with those other people. But I absolutely love it. If you love enemies to lovers, small town, kind of cowboy agent type, fantastic. Absolutely loved it. The whole thing that he's like, I just hate milk. I don't understand. It's fucking hilarious. Definitely check it out if you have not already. Worth all the hype. Next up is Rachel Gibson, Rescue Me. I was in the mood for a little Rachel Gibson. I've read mostly all of her books. I had not read this one yet. This is about Vince and Sadie. Vince we meet in Any Man of Mine, which is part of her Seattle hockey series she's got. We meet him in that, Vince comes down to Lubbock, Texas, which she has a whole series for Lubbock, Texas, to buy his aunt's gas station. Sadie is from Lubbock. Her dad owns this big ranch. She has a very strained relationship with him. Her mom died when she was young, and they just didn't feel very connected. So she goes down there. She's older. If you're from the South, you know. You understand. If you are older in your like mid to late 20s, you're not married yet, old hag. Like that, you get that. Everybody looks at you like, what's wrong with you? Like, do you need help? Like, what's going on? So Sadie and Vince, it's very somewhat enemies to lovers, almost like friends to lovers. It's very short. It's great. It also, just to forewarn you, some of her books are early 2000s, mid 2000s, as well as late 90s. You get those references. Like, bigger the hair, closer to God. So you get a lot of those references. So if you see something that may be like, oh, they do not say that nowadays. They don't, because this is an older book. Still very good. There is some spice in there, very small amount. But if you want a southern, small town, former military, and a former failed beauty pageant, this is really good. I gave this 4 stars. It's a classic Rachel Gibson, and I loved it. Next up is Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. Now, Tessa Bailey, you know what you're getting when you read Tessa Bailey. I gave this 4 stars. This is her Vine Mess series, Messy Vine series. So it's like a duet. This is about, I believe, Hallie and Julian. Julian is on a sabbatical from his Ivy League professor job. Hallie is a gardener who knows not how, like, she doesn't know what time is. She gets there when she gets there. They are basically the opposites of each other, but they went to school. He was 2 years older, had no clue she existed, and she had the biggest crush on him. He comes back. She starts writing him secret admirer letters, as well as becoming closer with him because she's doing the gardening at his like guest house on his family's vineyard. Vineyard? Is that what it's called? Sure. Very, very good. The banter's there. I think the only reason I did not give this 5 stars or even 4.5 stars was I think it was dragged out a little bit, as well as this is a big miscommunication. Just tell him, like, she got mad at him because he was writing back to the secret admirer, like, letters. Ma'am, you wrote those. What are you doing? Like, it was a big old miscommunication pot pie. Like, that's what it was. And that is not my favorite trope. I loved everything else in it. The spice is good. The banter's good. Classic Tessa Bailey. Another thing, which will pop in here and the next book I'm going to talk about, both the men in this duet call the vagina thing. This is a personal pet peeve. These men are like in their 30s and they're not saying, I don't know, vagina. Why are you calling, he's like, grind that thing. I wanted to physically vomit. Gross. Gross, gross, gross. Out of anything you could say. Cookie. Like anything else but thing. I don't get it. That was a personal thing where I was like, why the fuck would you do that? I don't understand it. Tessa Bailey, if you ever, for whatever fucking chance, if ever see my videos, please don't ever do that again. Jesus Christ. Also read Unfortunately Yours, which is the second book and the final in the duet. This is about Julian's sister Natalie and August. They meet in Secretly Yours. So if you're going to read these, you need to read Secretly Yours and Unfortunately Yours. I mean, you can read them out of order, but you'll miss how they meet, and I love how they meet. This is definitely enemies to lovers. It is a marriage of convenience. Fantastic. August is so freaking cute. Besides him calling vagina thing, you know what I mean? I absolutely love him. He gets like sympathy pains every time he opens his mouth. He's like, I don't know why I said that to you. Like, he questions himself all the time. He's dealing with guilt from the death of his friend. He's former military, who always wanted to open a vineyard, and he's doing it, but he's failing, and he doesn't want to ask for help because he feels as though this is his responsibility to do. And Natalie, who has been burned up in New York as a like finance person, she wants to go back and show them that she can do it, but she can't get her trust fund until she's married, like some old rule, even though she's close to 30. So they enter into a partnership. He will not let her help, and that is like some childhood / adult trauma for her because her family's never let her help. So them working through their problems, I think they could have done it sooner. As well as one of the issues didn't get resolved until literally the last 2 pages, which it wasn't that big of an issue, but it could have been resolved like 4 or 5 chapters before. It was very good. Again, classic Tessa Bailey. You can't go wrong with her. It's fantastic. But again, be warned, they call the vagina thing. Yes, I'm still talking about it. Next up is Gina L. Maxwell's The Rebel King, which is the second in the series, the first being The Dark King. The Rebel King is about Tiernan and Fiona. Correct? Yes, Fiona. Tiernan is second in line. If you haven't read Dark King, you need to for this series, because how the series starts is directly after what happened in The Dark King, and it all plays together. So he has never wanted to be king. He is basically a spare heir. He has behaved as such. He has had a relationship with Fiona somewhat. They just she is the housekeeper, and bang on occasion. A secret of Fiona's that she had no idea about comes out. She struggles with her identity, and Tiernan has no clue on how to help her. I gave this book 3 stars. I love The Dark King. I think I gave that 5 stars, or at least 4.5. I can't remember. The reason I did not like Tiernan and Fiona. Fiona was an idiot. She was unbelievably naive. She was letting her emotions completely control what she did. He's like, do not do this. This is dangerous. And she's like, nah, I'm going to do it anyway. It's and then she gets captured and he's like, what the fuck? I do not like that. I don't like characters who you see the clear danger and you still are going to waltz on in there. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't. So it was very difficult. But there's only one more book in the series left, I think, about their younger brother, which I am excited about. But I just had a hard time with this because I feel like a lot of the stuff that was happening didn't need to happen, because how the book, their problems, their conflict was resolved, this could have been so short. I think this is close to 300 pages, and I honestly think it could have been it could have been close to 250. And I think it really needed to be. It didn't need to be as long as it did. I think it was really dragged out. And Tiernan's trauma was weird. He took on somebody else's trauma and it made it about himself. It was fucking weird. That's my opinion. So it was okay. The Dark King was better. And if you're going to continue the series, obviously you have to read this. I'm excited for the 3rd book to come out just so I can finish the series. But it was a letdown. It was a big letdown. And that's really... a lot of sequels do that. You'll have a really good first in a series, and then you get the 2nd book, and you're like, what the fuck happened? I don't know. I think I'm just talking nonsense at this point. Who fucking knows? And then finally, we were talking about The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy. This is the 3rd book in the Avalon Bay series. Elle Kennedy is an auto-buy author for me. I freaking love her. Also, if you don't know, she put all of the Off-Campus and Briar U series on Kindle Unlimited. And when I tell you I ran and put that shit on my Kindle, my Kindle app, even though I have all of the books, the physical books, I went and got them. So if you've never read them and you're wanting to read them, you didn't want to buy the books, they're on Kindle Unlimited right now. Go get it though. Go run, go get it. So this is the 3rd book. I love this book. This is about Cassie Soul and Tate Bartlett. We meet Tate in the first 2 books. He's the friend of the twins for the first 2, which is Good Girl Complex and Bad Girl Reputation. A lot of people are very iffy about this series. People just, they don't really like it, or they really love it. It's just very back and forth. I happen to love it because they're easy reads. They're really good summer reads, and I like them. But Cassie used to come to Avalon Bay all the time, but her parents' messy divorce has caused her to stay away. Her grandmother is selling the beach hotel, which, if you know, the girl from the first book, which I can't remember her name, has now bought. She sold it, so she's come down to help her grandmother kind of pack up her house. She's selling that, and to see the opening of the hotel, kind of reminisce. She meets Tate, and she wants to have a summer fling. She wants to kind of enjoy herself, and that's what she has. Her and Tate are really, really cute. Now, some of the things that happen in this book, when I tell you I was infuriated, not because of the writing was bad or anything, it's how good the writing was. Like, a book is supposed to make you feel like the things happening, and the shit that Cassie's mom pulled, when I tell you, I flipped. I wanted to flip a table. It was insane. Like, I was finishing this book, like, in bed, and I woke my fiance up. I was like, like, he's like, you need to fucking calm down. Go to bed. Like, this is ridiculous. But it's so good. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm wondering if they're going to do more books. Are we going to get more books in this series? I wouldn't be mad about it. But it's very good. It's a very good summer read, and I'm happy to have read it before summer's over, because September, y'all. Summer's done. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people say, is September really the start of fall, or is it still summer? It's fall. Pumpkin spice lattes are back, you guys. It's fall. We're here. So summer's done. Especially like Seattle weather or Washington weather. It has hit us full force. It is rainy and dreary and not fucking hot and beautiful. I'm so happy for it. So I gave this 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. So these are the 9 books I read in August. I'm hoping we read some better ones. I read some good ones, a few, but a lot of them I was just really irritated about, as you witness me just ranting and just not making any sort of sense. But I love these. I'm excited about September's reads. If you haven't seen my TBR video, it should be up. I'll link it down in the description below. I'm excited. I'm excited to get into spooky season, y'all. We're here. My neighbors are already decorating for Halloween, and I support it wholeheartedly. I'm very excited. But I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, bye guys.